Hi there. Thank you for chiming in, for tuning in and watching this video for me with me. So I figured today I'm going to share a real life fear that I have, and it's I think it's a legitimate fear. Sorry, I'm going to play around with the microphone, see if I can get it a little closer to me. But I wanted to share. This is Rebecca Stark, and this is my DNF series in which I serve. I share verses in which the Bible says, "Do not be afraid, do not fear," something along those lines, because we definitely need that reminder. We get that reminder often from God. I'm ever so grateful that God does repeat those lines over and over in the Bible. So I'm going to share a verse with you, of course. Sorry, the dog and the cats are out here and they're bumping up against the tripod. But I definitely wanted to share something that's a little fear that I've conquered. And I'm realizing I need to adjust my tripod so you can see. There we go. Now we can get it right there. All right. So it doesn't matter. You can see my garden. There's my garden in the back. And this over here, that is cucumbers and beans. And there's a strawberry plant in the middle. And they're all happy and they're doing well. And there's actually 2 gaps that are right there. And you can't really see them over here. But I actually just went out and picked potatoes today. And I'm so excited I did. Because I got some potatoes. Here you go. You can see these are homegrown potatoes that I was able to pick today, but it took a little while, and I actually probably lost some potatoes to rot because I was just hesitant and I was waiting. So let's do the verse first, and then I'll share the real life. Like, I actually conquered one of my fears today and took care of things. So Luke 12:22, and as I said, the Bible says do not fear, and it says do not fear over and over again. And as it says do not fear over and over again, sometimes you hear the same story, and that definitely happens in the New Testament, in the Gospels, because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who wrote the different Gospels, many of them were alive with Jesus, or they heard from somebody who was with Jesus and they told the stories. And so the same story is repeated in the Gospels because it happened, and 2 or 3 different people are giving their perspective on it. So these are words, I actually found these in Matthew as well. But this verse comes from Luke. So it's Luke 12, verse 22. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or your body, or even what you will wear." And I don't know about you, but that covers the basics for me. Like, don't worry about your life. Yep, what are the things I'm afraid of? I'm worried about my life or the lives of those around me. Less to a lesser extent, what I'll eat, my body, right? We women, that's something we struggle with. We struggle with bodies and body image and how we appear, and then what you wear. I actually shared this in a Bible verse or Bible study I was in the other day of, like, I was worried about what I'm going to wear. And, I'm going to meet with this group of women for the first time. And look, I'm even fussing with my shirt that I have on today. It doesn't matter. Like God says, don't worry about what you will wear, among other things. So real life fear. This is my garden, and I plant my garden, try to plant foods that will grow. What do you got? That's Dolly, and it's okay. I don't know if there's anything actually there. Give me just a hot second. What are you barking at? Yeah, it's okay. Those are planters. I just put them there. I did a little rearranging in the garden storage area, and it's startling to her, and she's like, "Oh, there's something different there." Sorry, Dolly. So anyways, I try and plant plants that will grow food that we eat. This one right here, this nice big full plant, is basil, and we love to make pesto out of our basil. There's a lot of tomatoes along here, and I love just coming out and picking the basils. The cucumber has been incredibly productive, and I've been getting tons of cucumbers. And then there were potatoes, and if you've ever grown potatoes before, potatoes, you plant a seed potato, you let it grow, you let it get up above the dirt that you have in there, and then you add more dirt, and then you keep doing that. And eventually, and the plants grow and they look happy, and then eventually those plants start to deteriorate. And once the green part that you see starts to die away, then it's time to plant or to pick your potatoes. And you can't see the potatoes because they're growing underground. But I've been watching and seeing that, okay, it looks like my potatoes are probably ready to pick. But I was hesitating because I was out picking cucumbers and beans, and I was actually pulling up some weeds, and I was out there, and in Texas we have these tiny little ferocious fire ants, and they are teeny tiny. They don't look like they're much of anything, but their bites are horrific. And I don't know if you can see on the back of my hand, there's like a couple little spots. Sorry, that's my microphone, but there's a couple little spots because when I was trying to brush the ants off, I got one or two on my hands and they bit my hand. And the bites, I've gotten bit by fire ants a couple of times now, and it's horrible, and I hate it. And it's just the bane of my existence of gardening. So I got the very clear guidance of if I'm going to go out to the garden, I need to make sure I am wearing boots. I was wearing sandals and had bites all over my toes. So it took a little while for me to be brave enough to go out and pick potatoes because the ants get into the dirt, into the ground. And I was just so worried that I was going to turn over one of my potato pots and it was just going to be full of ants. But today I went out, I did it, and good news is I didn't save them all, but I did get some potatoes, and so I'm very grateful that I was able to overcome that little fear. And it doesn't seem significant in the grand scheme of things that are going on in the world, but it's still, sometimes we do that to ourselves and we say, oh, my fear, it's not that important. Or I don't need to share this isn't that significant. But I just wanted to share that with you, that the Bible reminds us over and over again, do not be afraid. And sometimes I get afraid, and sometimes maybe you do too. But this was me taking action and being bold and going out and saying, I'm gonna pick my potatoes, and thankfully I did not run into any red ants. So whatever fears you're facing today, I hope this encourages you to face your fear. And Jesus said over and over, he actually said it many times to the point where it's been recorded in several of the Gospels, but Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you, do not be afraid, do not worry about your life. Don't worry about what you eat or what you wear or your body, because God's going to take care of all of that for you. So I hope and pray you know and you trust that, and that this encourages you to dive a little further into the Bible yourself and to read the many times God reminds us that we don't need to be afraid. So thank you so much for popping in and watching this video and hanging out with me. I like that I've got a little extra ambient noise. I've got the birds singing in the background, and that's just lovely. So, and then there's Dolly. Thank you. Bye-bye.